Hey everybody, welcome back to the Q&A for our session on Roussanne wine. I appreciate you joining us all. I'm sorry I didn't get to everybody's questions, and I'd like to pick a few questions tonight to answer. I think that might help us all get to know what Roussanne is. So sit back, relax, pour another glass of wine, and enjoy the questions. Okay, our first question comes from Jen Negretti. She asks, how would you compare the wine to a Sauvignon Blanc? Well, Jen, this wine is not as light-bodied as Sauvignon Blancs. Sauvignon Blanc tends to have a little more grassiness to it, or a little, when I say grassy, I mean a very overt herbaceousness to the wine. Now, the Roussanne has a mild herbaceousness, but it's also heavier bodied. It's much weightier on the palate. When you take a sip of Sauvignon Blanc, it tends to feel very light on the palate, whereas the Roussanne has a much heavier weight. Roussanne also has a more complex body as far as the fruit flavors go, where Sauvignon Blanc may be more crisp apple or lemongrass. Roussanne tends to be more honeycomb, more pear, more like a nice aged cup of herbal tea. And I hope everybody enjoys herbal tea. I don't mean it tastes exactly like that, but that's more where the weight in the mouthfeel are. Okay, our next question comes from John Powell. Mr. Powell asks, how long is the aging process and shelf life? Well, John, the aging of the wine for the manufacturing or for the production of it, we aged in barrel for almost 2 years, just about 22 months. So we put it in French oak, we did batonnage, which is stirring the lees the first few months, and then we let it alone in the cellar for 2 years. We just made sure that every couple of months we would check it, top it, make sure that everything was okay, and then just let it become the wine it is. So as far as that goes, the aging process is oak and about 2 years. Now the bottle age or the shelf life of the wine wholly depends on how you're going to store it at home and how it's stored either in the store before you get it or at the winery before you get it. Cool, but not cold, and consistent temperature are the keys to long-term storage of any wine. Make sure it's not experiencing a temperature fluctuation 1 month to the next or one season to the next, that it's in constant temperature. This wine, stored under ideal conditions, will last 7 to 10 years easily. Okay, our next question comes from Elizabeth Raxter. Elizabeth asked, could you post food pairings with the wines prior to the tastings so maybe we could have something with the wine and the tasting? That's an excellent idea, Elizabeth. We are actually working on that, getting some things together that would be simple and quick to prep at home. The problem is every time we come up with an idea at work, we all get hungry and then we get distracted because then we have to go out and eat. And so it's a long process. Bear with us. Anyway, we will have some suggestions for you coming up. And part of that also is the fact that we've gone back and forth about how to get food to you with the pairings, but we decided that if we just post some recipes or some ideas that you folks at home could join us with a snack of your own and a nice glass of wine. Okay, our final question for this evening comes from Bill Kennedy. Bill asks if you could please let us know what cheese you would pair with the Wednesday and Friday tastings for the week of April 6th. So Bill, Wednesday, we're going to be featuring the Claret wine in our tasting on Wednesday. And I would suggest a really nice aged white cheddar. You can use yellow cheddar too. I'm just partial to like Vermont or New York aged white cheddar. Or if you would prefer a softer cheese, a nice brie would go very well with the Claret. Either one of those. The cracker or bread of your choice. You can also try some mixed nuts as long as they're not too salty. Some almonds or cashews, they all go very well with that Claret wine. As far as the Friday pairing goes, Friday we'll be talking about the Dolcetto, beautiful light Italian style wine. I would say that a Parmesan cheese, a nice hard crumbly Parmesan cheese with either a drizzle of honey or a drizzle a little bit of raspberry or blackberry jam. With that cheese, again, on your choice of bread or cracker, that's one of my favorite pairings is Parmesan with Dolcetto to begin with. So it does very well. Or you could try a creamy chef, a creamy goat cheese, again, with your choice of toppings. But the goat cheese or the Parmesan with the Dolcetto do equally as well.